Hi everyone. So, here in Texas for this past week, it has been cold. I mean, cold. Now, I do understand that, cold can be relative, but for someone who lives in Texas, the 40s, 50s, and 60s are cold. Um, anyway, speaking of cold, um, this week I had a conversation with my 6-year-old, and it just reminded me, unfortunately, of how the world can be quite cold. So I was in the bathroom, and he walked in, and he comes up to me and he says, "Mom, I have a question." I said, "Okay, ask me." And he says, "Is it true that some people judge other people because of the color of their skin?" Y'all, this was before 8 o'clock. And so I looked at him, plain and simply, yes. Talk about cold. It's interesting that he asked me that question, not because that's not something that everyone is not dealing with now, because we all are, and have been forever. But it's interesting that he doesn't remember his first experience with color. He was actually 3 years old, and he came home from school, his 3-year-old school. He came home from school, and he sat down at the kitchen table, and he was just trying to rub. He was rubbing his skin, like almost like he was rubbing it off, and he was just going to town. And so I looked at him. I said, "Mark, what are you doing?" And he looks at me and he looks back down and he keeps rubbing. He said, "I'm trying to see if this brown will come off because," and he named the little girl's name. He said, "Because she told me that she doesn't like me because of my brown skin." 3 years old. So at that time, at 3, my husband and I had to sit down and think about how we were going to address what just happened, and the fact that we're raising 2 little black boys, beautiful, handsome black boys. And one of the things that we try to do, that my husband's very adamant about doing, is giving them their identity in Christ, of course, but giving them their identity. And by that, what we mean is we get to tell them, or we do tell them, that they were created by the most powerful being there is. We tell them that they are beautifully and wonderfully made. That's in Psalm 139. And when we tell them that they're beautiful, oh my goodness, both of them, they're like, "No, we're not beautiful, we're handsome." Okay, you're handsome. And we tell them, and we need to tell ourselves, we as Christians, we need to tell ourselves the same thing. We need to tell ourselves, yes, we're created by the most powerful being. Yes, we are beautifully and wonderfully made. Yes, we were thought of before we were ever born. Our purpose was given to us before we were ever born. God knit us together in our mother's womb. He was very particular about how he made our nose, about how he made our body, about how he made our brain. He was very particular, right? We need to remember also that we are chosen. And not only are we chosen, but we are royalty. That's in 1 Peter, and we are royalty. We are co-heirs in Christ. That's a lot. And not only that, we are loved. That's the identity that we want to give our boys, and that's the same identity that we need to make sure that we give ourselves. Y'all, don't accept the world giving you your identity. Don't accept it, because they do want to say that we aren't smart. And I'm talking about any and every color color out there, that we're not smart as someone else, that we're criminals, that we should look one way and not another, that we should do things this way and not that. No, don't let the world give you your identity. God has already done that. So as you go throughout this week, remember your identity in Christ. Remember that you are His creation. Remember that you are beautiful. Remember that you are royalty. Remember that you are chosen. And remember that you are loved. That should be your identity. That is your identity. Y'all have a good week.